Welcome back once again to Hearthstone Global Games 2019, and the top 16 is rumbling towards its conclusion. We've got one more spot to find, and we've got two more teams to remove, and one of those is going to be Thailand or Japan. Thailand, who I think we both felt played really well in the first round of games, but maybe not so well earlier today.
Yeah, looked a little bit more unsure of themselves, I think it's fair to say, in the first series we saw of them today. But they have a chance, obviously, to turn it round in the initial losers match up against Japan, who got absolutely taken apart, it has to be said, in their first series of the day, 0-3 versus New Zealand, who then went on to win the group. So I guess, not all too surprising that you're losing to New Zealand. They are one of the best performing Global Games teams over the entirety of all three Hearthstone Global Games. But for Possessi here, it looks like he's got himself in a decent position, at least to take game one. Druid up against the Shaman. I think it's a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, I think the more I see of this, the more it's just good for the Shaman. And it's ridiculous, but true, that from the opening hand, you can usually have a good idea who's going to win this particular matchup. I don't think that's necessarily true of all of Hearthstone right now. The other exception being Priest with Northshire Cleric. Yeah. But if Shaman has any prospect of going wide in the first 4 turns against Druid, it just seems to win every time.
Not the most devastatingly powerful start, though, for the Shaman, it has to be said, right at the start. Lacking that key evolve, but with the Spirit of the Frog, that might be all he needs to get it.
Yeah, it's amusing how casting works, isn't it? You start down that route, which made absolute sense halfway through the first sentence, and by the time you finish speaking, there's a Spirit of the Frog, a Zap, a Mutate, everything you could ever want in your hand to get your evolve. It's superb how it works. If only you could make it happen to your own games.
I've tried, believe me, I've tried.
Yeah, this is looking absolutely beautiful, and there's not even a response for Thailand to try and save themselves. We've seen people be able to at least throw out a minion or something to do something, but the only saving thing so far is there's no Bloodlust in hand for Japan.
Okay.
Like big roots, that's it. So if the evolve goes bad and then the mutate also goes bad, and the Starfall might be okay. No, okay, it's not happening.
I'm not seeing it.
I want to see them hit this 2-3 though. I know you've got to preserve your health total, but I want to hit that 2-3 so it's set up for Starfalling later.
I thought you meant with the Zap to try and find an evolve, which actually, I think if they don't find it off the mutate, they definitely should.
But actually, another reason why Thailand could have hit in there.
Sure.
To try and prevent that Zap on the 2-3. I know they can still zap
they can still have done it on
things. I don't know. I just like taking the extra 2 there and setting up the Starfall, because so often. Oh, maybe it's not. If he's going to get evolved, you're in trouble anyway. I don't know. Yeah, this is fine. I was wrong. I was actually wrong.
Pretty much just to cycle through the deck that little bit further, and the evolve being used to generate, obviously, that nice big board you always want against Druid. It's not terrible, honestly. We laugh, but
I'm laughing at how good it is, not how bad it is.
Oh,
it's totally Starfall proof.
It is
as much as you're going to get. Because all you want is that second number. The first number doesn't matter because you buff it up so high anyway. Yep. I think this is a great...
Silverback Patriarch, nothing. You heard it here first.
Yep. I would never trade this for a random other evolve. This is fine for me. Against Druid on turn 4.
I wonder how far you could actually push Silverback Patriarch and it be balanced. Like, if they printed a 3-mana 4/4 Taunt, how busted would that actually be with modern Hearthstone?
3-mana 4/4 Taunt.
Like, it's strong, obviously, but I don't know if that's, like, busted.
It's certainly a really, really good card, obviously, but...
Yeah.
How far could you push it the other way? If you pushed it to a 3-mana 1, how much? 6, 7, 9, 49?
Yeah, I mean, like...
They all died Shadow Word Pain anyway. Yeah.
What was the Crypt Lord. That was a 3-mana 1/6 that grew bigger. I think like 1/7, 1/8. I'd play that.
Yeah.
That's pretty big stats for turn 3. But anyway, we're waffling on about things that don't really matter for this point, because as it currently appears, it looks like Pacquiao is going to struggle big time to fight back against everything that Zessi is throwing down. He does have a big old development on this turn, to be fair. But this just gives room for Zessi to actually clear stuff off his board more than anything else.
Yeah, it's always the nightmare. You've got to defend by putting things in the way, but that just allows them the chance to make more things. This hand for Possessi can turn bad pretty soon, but it would need to, because there's an 8/8 Sea Giant monstering its way through the opposition right now.
So
But oddly
like
enough, because he hasn't drawn Bloodlust.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say I like him getting through some 1/1s. We'll take first.
Yep. Possessi's like pose with how he's trying to listen to the audio kind of reminds me of me right now. But can't quite hear what you're saying. Oh yeah, I get it.
You sure you don't want to try Discord? It might be easier.
I don't know which one we're on right now. I've lost track.
I think we're on.
We've changed so many times between everybody for the 3 days.
Either way, this is going to be
go by a carrier pigeon.
Yeah, exactly. Munch through the board here for Possessi, which means a lot of damage can start connecting phase. Boof! Giant representing very, very easy lethal, and it has to be pretty much a full board clear now for Pacquiao, which obviously just can't be done.
Correct. Note the pause there. Well, I don't know why I paused there.
Yeah, he's searching for Anubisath defenders, of which there's only one left in the deck anyway. So that is just going to be G to the and bringing up their first win of the top 16 phase after being absolutely destroyed by New Zealand in their first round. And it's a pretty big win to get. I feel like the Shaman is obviously fairly likely to get through in a win, but Druid is not especially likely in that the Hunter is kind of a close matchup again. But for Japan, it's a nice start to say the least.
Having a little giggle to myself, because double Paladin ban is something I don't think has happened for about 200 competition cards.
Yeah, that's an interesting point actually. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it from Japan, because they have they have the Priest and the Shaman in their lineup, both of which are pretty good against the Paladin from Thailand. I feel like they could probably have got away with that there.
Yeah, it's interesting. They both brought very similar lineups, of course, so having the same idea. That means they've got to play Hunter against this Priest, and this is a weird matchup. Do you have Deadly Shot? No. Do you have Freezing Trap? No. Do you have Pressure Plate? Yes. Okay, you've got a chance. Hardly any of the cards the Hunter has matter, but the ones that do, boy, do they matter a lot.
They really, really do. It can make all the difference in the world against this Priest deck. Pressure Plate is definitely one of the better ones to be having. And everything else, honestly, it's looking like a pretty decent curve. In a way, finding all the mechs with Ursatron is bad, because obviously you can't draw anything. But, you know, if you want to take a glass half full approach, you could say that there's the ability to just immediately magnetize a Snip Snap onto the Ursatron, and then Ziliax thereafter, so the Ursatron doesn't even have to die before the mech synergies start rolling in. And
yeah, it's all about, if you can get 2 minions to stick of any size, then it comes down to, does the Priest have Amet? Yes, no. It's so many cards in this matchup don't matter that much. But oddly enough, we're going to be in a fairly cut and thrust match for once between the two. And I think what you just described there is important. I think the Ursatron and mech synergy in general is going to be a big part of this. Do you want to develop your Pressure Plate now?
Take your time instead,
because
just
otherwise,
keep developing the minions.
Just take 14, son.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just... Pressure plate that! I think they might need a freezing trap or a deadly shot to get out of this.
I'm really trying to think to myself here, like, would it be result oriented to say they should have played pressure plate on turn 2? Because obviously this is about as terribly as it can go. But if they had played pressure plate, they wouldn't be anywhere near this situation.
I think they should have played it on turn 3. Turn 2, I think they want to challenge the board with their 3/2 minion. I think that's fair enough. But turn 3, I didn't really see what the Urzatron was doing in terms of anything.
Yeah, I think I agree, actually. I mean, well, kind of. It does allow you to get the Snip Snap magnetized on if they don't trade into it. But they probably are just going to trade with the 4/7 anyway, so I think I agree with you.
But it might not be over. Incredibly.
Yeah, weirdly enough, there's still a chance.
Yeah, there's a twist in this tale at the moment.
So is it ever worth healing face on this turn, or do you just go triple 1-drop? Sorry, 2-drop triple, 2-drop double 1-drop. Running over myself there. That does run into the fear of Rat Trap, which you do have to be very scared of. So all things considered, yeah, I think I like just playing around the Rat Trap, because if that happens and you're met with a some way to deal with the 14/14, you could just be losing there.
Yeah, you might even have to have healed your face as well, because you might lose this race. Ziliak's smack you is terrifying. And then even a silence would give you a 50-50. Actually, it wouldn't be 50-50 because you play your other minions first, but yeah.
Yeah.
This is a very silly game of Hearthstone, Derek.
It really is. It's actually quite a difficult choice for Patiao, to be fair. Like, it's pretty clearly Ziliak's on this turn, unless you want to get very, very lucky with the Masked Contender. But then do you trade the 3/2 into the Wild Pyromancer? I guess you probably do because you want to preserve the Divine Shield.
Yeah, and more importantly, you can't 2-turn lethal them, so you might as well. You've got an easy 3-turn lethal, impossible 2-turn, so trade.
Okay, I agree with that.
Look at this nonsense!
So,
I was absolutely sure this was 2-0. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
They've got their health back to 14 already.
In the light's name.
This is nonsense. I'm loving it.
Still not over quite yet either.
No, because that is now setting up some forms of lethal depending on exact buffs and such like.
So what do you do here between killing off the Light Warden with Mark Shot or double Snip Snap? Double Snip Snap means that just if the priest heals, they can kill it off anyway with both the 2/3 and the Light Warden. So I agree, this is the correct play. Misdirection.
He's getting a little bit. That's going to be amazing. Please just let that happen one time.
Glory's going to kill himself with the Blade Master.
It's going to be amazing. This is what everybody. If you don't like priests and you've had sickness of this deck for the last 3 months, just savor this next attack.
Please let this happen.
Because it could be immense.
Make it so.
And Pataya's happy little face as my opponent's about to hit himself for 14. This is great. Six turns of the most ridiculous action you will ever witness in such a short game.
It's honestly kind of lucky for Glory that he hasn't drawn any spells up until this point, because he hasn't had to activate the pressure plate.
Yeah.
He's just been quite happily able to plod along, playing up minions, keeping up with tempo.
Just to be clear, I'm not biased. I don't mind who wins this game, but I want this 14-14 to hit the priest in the face.
Oh, I mean, just for entertainment value.
I think it's
sake,
important.
Of course you want that to happen. For the soul of
I
this
think
country.
it's actually, yeah, exactly. For the soul of everybody who has waited for this moment since Priest started being good. And it's still nowhere near over. This is an insane game. They have found a way to play around it all rather nicely, sadly.
So did we see what that secret was that came off of it then?
No, I'll tell you in a moment. Through my secret cheating device.
Yeah, I don't even know if we actually get to see, to be fair.
Oh. Well, that's no fun.
But it's not freezing trap, we know that now. It's not snake trap. So we can whittle it down to, what, snipe or rat trap or explosive trap?
Sounds right. I think you're right. I think we don't get to see.
Alright, there's the misdirection, finally.
Boo.
Yeah, a bit of a boring result.
This has been so strange.
It's been.
I don't disagree with basically any play that was made. I think I agree with almost all of them. Or in fact, possibly all of them.
Yeah, it was really just the pressure plate at the start that felt a bit weird. But other than that, I agree.
Yeah, okay. Pressure plate turn 2 did feel like a thing they could do. Yes. And the problem now is, even though Siamat will keep them alive, the Northside Clerics are about to jump into action and do their thing.
I wonder.
And the Hunters, if it loses the Siamat's kind of out of gas. And by kind of, I mean is.
Yeah. Oh, how do you sequence this? This is so hard. So Siamat Rush Wind Fury would allow you to trade into the 2-1 and then the 14. Okay, you can do it this way, I suppose. It takes out less stuff on board, but leaves you with a 6-6, so it's probably better.
Yeah. Oh dear. The nuttiness continues.
Yeah, I think Glory has ruled it down to either pressure plate or rat trap yet. I'm not sure if he's actually certain which of the two it is quite yet. So he will very possibly start by attacking face with the 7-3, or trading actually, I suppose, if he wants to go down that route. Before playing the Circle of Healing, that is.
Is someone injured?
Yeah.
So now he knows it's not rat trap. So I think he knows for certain that it's pressure plate. So do your attacks before you play the spells. He needs to consider, does he ever die to Bran Bronzebeard on this turn? Not Bran Bronzebeard, Dinotamer Bran.
Yeah, you get fewer cards, so you've got to be ordering things well, and he is ordering things very tidily here.
I got you, friend.
This is very clever. Allows him to get the value trade and heal back up. Whole bunch of cards as well. This is
Full Northshire, this is known as.
Yeah.
In the trade. This has been just the most bizarre game of Hearthstone for some time.
Okay,
And just look at all the nonsense. Animations, lol, I think is better for this one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh.
Turn's still going, long after it ended.
Was that a rag off the top?
Yeah.
Not going to make a difference, but kind of comical nonetheless.
Very amusing. 2-0, which we knew after we didn't know, and then we knew again. And Japan just left with their Druid between them and a chance to take on Philippines for a place in that illustrious top 8.
Yeah, a bit of a mixed bag here left for their druid. The hunter, I think, is a bit of a difficult one, but the shaman and the druid mirror, of course, much more winnable. So, despite the fact that they are 2-0 up, not necessarily the easiest path to victory, but I definitely still like Japan's odds heading into the rest of the series.
Yeah, me too. So as always at this point, we're just going to take a short break and we will be right back with the conclusion of Japan versus Thailand. Welcome back once again to Hearthstone Global Games 2019. It's the final group, Group A, of course, and it's Thailand and Japan. 2-0 right now to Japan, sitting pretty for that match with the Philippines if they go through.
Yep, just got to take a win with their druid now, and it is going to be the druid up against the hunter first of all, a match that I hypothesized looked like the least favored for the druid heading into this, because I generally find that hunter has a pretty aggressive early game. You know, when you look at Animal Companion, Ursatron, Secret Keeper, as well as all the secret synergy cards like Masked Contender and Hyena Alpha, when you pair all of that with the late game bombs, like Dinotamer Bran, Siamat, Ragnaros, Zephyrus as well, Call of the Wild. There are some very, very powerful threats throughout the entire curve, and that generally, I think, makes for a little bit too much damage for druids to keep up with.
Yeah, it's battling on two fronts. Like, even the games where we talk about the shaman, if the shaman runs out of stuff on board, the druid wins. It just doesn't happen that often. Yep. But against the hunter, first of all, it's got to battle on the board. Then it's got to battle against the direct damage. Then it's got to kind of battle on both when you get to turn 7 and 8 and the big stuff comes to play. So it really is flailing around all over the shop trying to keep everything under control. Like those cartoons where there's a guy on a boat and it springs a leak, so they put their finger in there or something else quite often.
Exactly.
And then 2 more
Yeah.
holes pop up somewhere else.
And then you got to use like their nose and their foot as well.
Yeah, exactly. And by the end of it, there's just a sinking boat and somebody stretched out across the whole boat. Malfurion is the guy stretched out across the whole boat.
I moves quickly to my side.
Hoffa always helps.
Yeah, it is good here to get the immediate 4 damage, but it just makes for a beautiful clear now for Glory. And he can quite happily keep chugging along. And honestly, outside of that, for Patty out, he's got damage aplenty, obviously, with the bow and the hero power, but his actual threats for the next few turns are looking very lackluster.
Yeah, you're normally hoping to have some bits and pieces to fill the time from now until turn 6 or 7. But these bits and pieces are currently not present in the hand at all. And the Druid's chugging along quite nicely. No leak in the boat yet.
What to do?
So I think they just think about the timing of the Loti. No reason to play it before you complete the quest in theory.
Power takes many.
Oof. The elusive taunt Loti, rarely seen and really good, honestly. But here, just to block a bit of damage early on, why not?
Yeah, and as it turns out with Eaglehorn bow in hand, this just blocks everything.
It really does.
Has completely ruined Thailand.
I
That's
wonder.
insane.
So the options obviously being bow and swing or pressure plate hero power pass. Pressure plate was definitely tempting, but I guess the thinking is here that if Glory wants to actually trade and start killing these minions, he's going to trigger Snake Trap, which is going to charge up the bow again anyway.
Yeah. I'm wondering, I know I say this quite often, but I wonder if they could have made that read and just sat there.
I mean, they get to swipe, right, which takes the secret out of the way, so all
Yeah.
of a sudden the secret synergy minions are a bit weaker. I agree there was definitely the potential to just pass there.
Because the bow represents a lot of damage, but if it doesn't exist, then it represents no damage. That's kind of how numbers work.
Mhm.
Oh, Zephyrin, because you've got nothing better to do?
Yuck. It's probably correct though, right? Like,
I
what
think it
else
has
is
to
doing
be.
this turn? Yeah.
Druid's complete a quest, it's going to start making Oasis Surges and kill you in 2 turns itself.
If you get Animal Companion, it's better for Zul'jin as well.
It's also the tempting offer of Wild Growth that you can actually play on the same turn
True, yeah.
to get you to this Call of the Wild Zul'jin.
Yeah, maybe that is better actually.
I have this discussion every time. I always think it sounds better and it's never right, but I would take it anyway, I think, here.
I think you're supposed to take Animal Companion actually, because you have Unleash the Beast on 6, Unleash the Beast on 7. By turn 8, you have 3 more draws. You've got to find something
Yes.
that fills out your mana by that point, even if it's 2 or 3 cards in the same turn. I think you're very happy to just take the damage here.
Yeah, that's fair. I just always want Wild Growth, and like you say, it's almost never right.
Unleash the Beast here looking pretty gross when your opponent's playing two 5/5s for 5 mana and you have to play 1 for 6 mana. But I think you just got to start playing them, honestly.
Yeah, you just got to make this Zul'jin as big as possible. You're not winning this game. You're trying not to lose it and hoping Zul'jin wins you it. In the short term, you just have to stay alive. Which might not be a trivial task when you're down to 9. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, with Nourish and a second Oasis Surger, this is definitely looking pretty good for Glory now.
Yeah, all those things say
Oh,
good position.
Oh, King Feoris next turn, 5-drop, 6-drop, 2-drop, and then another King Feoris on turn the turn after.
Yep, for another 5-drop, 6-drop, 2-drop.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely silly.
Especially as Zephyrus is already come and gone. No sweeping board clear will be available to Patty out.
That's a really good point, actually. The Zephyrus was kind of forced by the nature of this weird hand.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the Hunter doesn't seem to curve as well as the Paladin. Sometimes it does. And when it does it, it's better than the Paladin. But
Yeah, it's a slightly higher curve, right? And like the difference between 1-cost secrets and 2-cost secrets is actually pretty massive when you're trying to fill up your early turns.
yeah. And also, I think the difference between Subject 9 and Mysterious Challenge is also very big. Because of the fact that it actually goes to your hand instead of in play. So that feels kind of clunkier as well. Yeah, he's just going to stick lethal on the board and say deal with it.
Yeah, very smart. You just want to get going before Zul'jin can come down, because at the moment Patiao is, even if you can't make the read that he has Zul'jin, I think you can make the read that the only way he wins is Zul'jin.
He might as well have Zul'jin, because if he hasn't, you're going to win anyway. That's very fair.
Winds of the south, come to my aid.
Probably rush Wind Fury, I'm imagining here, to take out as much as possible.
Yeah, gonna try. Here comes.
And King Feoris.
I'd assumed King Feoris, and I'm just trying to work out if there's lethal. With
not quite active yet.
Unactive Zephyrus.
Yeah.
That's how I roll.
I mean, maybe there's lethal here. Who knows?
Our power.
Maybe. Technically,
that may as
no.
well be. Yeah, that's a right bunch of battlegrounds minions there as well. Huh?
Wow.
Phalanx and a security robot.
Don't like the positioning much though.
Yeah.
And nor does Pattaya.
Yeah.
Wow.
0-3 loss there to Japan. A very swift victory indeed after they got 0-3 swept the other way round. Japan did by New Zealand. It means they do go on to face the Philippines in our next round there. And real commiserations to Thailand. It has to be said, they were looking a little bit weaker today. We disagreed with a fair few of their choices. But again, it has got to be iterated, given how relatively unknown they are in the competitive Hearthstone scene. I think they have really done a fantastic job for themselves. Last week, I disagreed with very, very few of their plays indeed. That was a much stronger performance. And even this week, it's because my expectations were so high after last week that I was being a bit critical of their plays. Yeah, and it means a lot to the players in Thailand. I remember when they got their the Southeast Asia tour, when Thailand got their own Open, how excited they all were. So good to see them getting this far in the event. Shame to not see them progress, but let's face it, at this point, you're up against the very, very best. Top 8 is a very lofty expectation. Getting this far, I think, was a good deal. Sets them forward for next year and see how they can do going forward. But there's still one more match to come. So enough of us prattling on. Let's get it set up for the final match of the day. The final of the top 8 teams will be decided. See you in 3.